Welcome back, everybody. Omega-3s, daily supplements, biotin, these are common vitamins many of us are taking daily. I know I have a few on my list, but how do we know if they're working and what we are really putting into our bodies? Those are the questions. Dr. Kohli addresses that with us today. All right, everybody, let's talk multivitamins. It's something that I take every day, Dr. Kohli. I do a fish oil and I have like a women's daily vitamin that I take. But do they actually do anything for us?
You know, we're looking at the data very carefully, and the recommendations have actually been revised because what we're learning is that it really doesn't seem like a multivitamin a day reduces risk of heart disease, reduces risk of cancer, or reduces risk of any mental health problems. And not only are they obviously costly, but it's also something that your body has to break down and goes to your liver. It has to be metabolized. And so a lot of Americans, just like you, Danny, take a multivitamin every day thinking they're doing good.
Right.
But the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force really says there's inconclusive evidence to say that they're doing any good. And in fact, some of them could actually be doing harm.
Oh my gosh, doing harm too? Okay, so that really scares me. And especially for those of us that take the women's multivitamin or the men's multivitamin. So these might not be doing anything, even if they're just completely separate for gender too, right?
Well, it's interesting. So women of childbearing age, the one vitamin that is recommended for that particular age group is folic acid.
Okay.
And if you're menstruating, you can lose a lot of iron. So if you're iron deficient, it's also a good idea to take iron. So those specific components are definitely recommended.
Okay.
We know that a prenatal vitamin has a good combination of both iron and folic acid, so that may be a good thing for most women of childbearing age. If they're thinking about having a baby, to take every single day, the CDC does recommend that. The men's multivitamin, we haven't really seen as strong of a support for that from the scientific literature.
Okay.
It can have some components for prostate health and such, but really that hasn't panned out in the trials.
Interesting. Any vitamins that are recommended, you know, something that can actually help us?
Yes, so if you're vitamin D deficient, and that's a big one, it is really important to take vitamin D, for sure. The iron and the folic acid we talked about as well. Magnesium is a good vitamin to take in general for people who have palpitations, people who have anxiety, people who have arrhythmias, people who have trouble sleeping. It can actually help. It has a sedative effect, and I sometimes take it at bedtime. It can really kind of help calm you down right before bed. It is a mild laxative effect too, so that might be a nice natural laxative to take if you have trouble with constipation. If you're osteoporotic, your doctor might recommend calcium supplements as well. Now, here's what we have to be careful about with the calcium, though, especially as women, because we have a high risk of osteoporosis after menopause, is that if we take calcium pills, sometimes they go and get stuck in the wrong spots, like on the valves in the heart. That's called heterotopic calcification, So as much as we can, we want to try to enrich the calcium in our diet, because that dietary calcium doesn't have the same type of effect as some of the other calcium supplements can.
Okay, I have to ask you about fish oil, because that one is the one that I've been taking forever, and I know my mom takes it. That's the one that's on our cabinet or on our countertop. What about fish oils?
2 thumbs down.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And I hate to break your heart on this.
No.
Yes, but fish oils have, the reason they sort of got all this excitement is because we used to see that people who took fish oils, you know, had lower heart disease risk and lower inflammation and other types of things. But what we realized in randomized trials was that it wasn't the fish oil that was doing it. It was the other behaviors that they were potentially also doing, exercising, keeping healthy, eating well, that may have been the cause. Because when you randomize people to either get fish oils or not, you didn't see a reduction in heart disease. In fact, what you saw is that sometimes you get more of an arrhythmia called atrial fibrillation, which I see in a lot of my patients as a cardiologist. And it can have a blood thinning effect because it works on our platelets as well. So sometimes it can increase our risk of bleeding, and it can have a fishy taste. And so definitely fish oils are not recommended for heart health. Now, sometimes they'll give it to you for eyes because we live in a dry climate. I have a lot of patients who see ophthalmologists who recommend fish oils. But if you think you're reducing your risk of heart disease with these mixed fish oils, which could be actually raising cholesterol, causing arrhythmias, doing other types of bad things, get rid of them.
Wow, okay. That's actually great, though. One less pill to have to worry about in the morning. So wonderful.
That's right.
Before I let you go, you did mention that some of these vitamins can be harmful.
That's right.
Tell me more about that.
So 2 that I want pretty much everyone to have on their radar are beta carotene, which actually can cause lung cancer in people who've smoked or who have a history of asbestos exposure. So we certainly want to stay away from that. If you're thinking about starting it, talk to your doctor. And the other is vitamin E, which excess amounts have also been linked with, you know, prostate cancer and other types of things. So those two are not recommended by the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force for prevention purposes.
Okay.
But in general, anytime before starting a supplement or a vitamin, make sure that you're looping in your doctor into this, because it could be helpful, but most of them, for the most part, especially the multivitamins, are not. So really, I always like to say food is your best multivitamin.
Yes.
You take every plate, half fruits or vegetables, a quarter lean protein like chicken or fish or tofu, and just a quarter of a whole grain. And if you have that recipe for your meals, you won't need those.
There you go. And that's, again, less pills that you have to worry about in the morning. Dr. Kohli, thank you so much. Food is really your best friend. Okay, make sure to email us your questions for Dr. Kohli. Just send us your message to mycoco@9news.com and put Kohli in the subject line.